What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. We'll try to keep this one brief, but I've been doing some thinking. My gut tells me as the world gets worse, this is probably going to be another thing we have to drop, unfortunately. But I want to get as much done as I can while we're in a position to. Why does Black America feel important? Why isn't this entire thing something you don't just write off? It's because something key to the United States is here. And if you are a nationalist, you lose out on something, at least as an American, by going the white power route or the black power route. But it's difficult because you can feel that victory or that level up somewhere out in the ether, but there is nothing you can do to get there. And that's what I've been thinking about. The ways there are no right answers, the nature of what's going on here, and then where it's going. First, if you go the anti-black route, whether that is hating just the culture or more generally going the hating the entire race route, you're forfeiting something it feels like the soil wants. You lose out on something American dominance over the globe needs when you write off blackness entirely. But if you go the pro-black route, especially as a white dude, that doesn't feel like you're forfeiting something, but it does feel like you're getting in the way of something. As if you can answer this problem. As if you can understand or see what's going on here in this fourth or fifth dimensional level. You can put a name on it. You can put a bow on it. You. And this goes for black people too, actually, although I think fucking it up is part of the process. I love looking at the status of this thought cabinet thing in terms of generational black names. You start with Anglo names, then you go into black figures names or African figures names, then you go into the mess that is Gen X black names, and to an extent older millennials. I feel bad for you guys. And then now we're getting into the French and Roman names. You can see a progression taking place. A nascent race trying to figure itself out. And this is tricky because it's a color and a culture thing. You've always had the blacks versus what have yous distinction. That's been the go-to for a long time. Essentially dividing blackness into white acting black people and black acting black people. But that's not it. Because, and I know this probably won't go over well, there's only it's a lot like American Jewishness. There's the race and then there's the culture, but there's no fine dividing line because they're one and the same. There's no good point to cut them, to separate them. You are what you are, and you're of what you're of. And even if you independently try not to be, you unfortunately can't escape the context of your existence. The difference is American Jews can blend in a lot better and hide it a lot better, usually. But another weird twist to this is um, American Jewishness almost feels settled, or at least it's in a settled state at the moment. American Jewishness thrives in this repressed hidiness, whereas blackness is this loud, ongoing thing that is actively trying to resolve itself. And this is where another maybe essential no-winning situation happens. From the outside, if you look at black like a them, then it feels like you're fucking up, because looking at it that way makes the Terran Federation impossible. It makes Starship Troopers impossible. Stellaris. Militarist, xenophobic, egalitarian. But at the same time, if you try to go the colorblind route, quotes colorblind, you get into this assimilation mode, and again, it feels like you are fucking up or getting in the way of something necessary that is happening for American dominance. And I've been sitting here thinking about this. I think I remember where I heard this. I heard something recently, and I'm pretty sure it was a video about The Matrix Reloaded. But it was from The Matrix Reloaded originally. You can't solve a problem if you don't understand what's happening, something like that. There's no solution. There are no actions you can take towards some solution, because how can you have a solution if you don't actually understand what you're looking at? So I was sitting and thinking and trying to understand what we're looking at here. And then I got onto a different train of thought, which connects back up to this. Why is American blackness so compelling? You think about African blackness. That's interesting, but when I'm in an interested in African blackness mood, it's not on a racial level. It's on a political level. It's on a warfare level. It's on a horror level. You think about English blackness, which, from an American's point of view, that's more of a religious thing and a 1984 thing. And it's weird. Maybe English people would view it differently, but to an American, or at least to these American eyes, English black dudes are like a different flavor of English dude. Even the drill ones. English people are all in this new English homogenized mass. And Englishness serves as an example of the sort of egalitarianism I think the United States should avoid. Because look at them. And I do still hold select English people in high esteem, but for the rest of them, look at them. That's why, or part of why, the forced colorblindness thing feels like the wrong way to go. American blackness is uniquely compelling because it's like a struggle for racial chim is going on here. Everything always comes back to Morrowind. Everything always comes back to Kirkbride. What we're looking at is another form of Americanism undergoing the roughest rough shit mutation process imaginable. It's like a what if scenario for the United States or the American identity, except it's real and it's working itself out, and that process is not going as smoothly as it maybe we would like it to. That's why you see rednecks driving around listening to rap, hating black people like you wouldn't believe, but thoroughly enjoying rap and not sensing, or they're not sensing, any contradiction there. Blackness is like a bizarro form of whiteness because they grow out of the same soil. And I just took a clarity piss. This is a tangent. We're about to go on a tangent that's going to throw off my entire train of thought, but this feels important. I think everything is in phases. Have you noticed the way the sort of black people who make you mortally uncomfortable and the sort of white people who make you mortally uncomfortable look the same in their faces? This species of person, or I don't know what you would call it, because this isn't just a white and black thing. This goes for most races. It's a narrow head with a sloped skull, squinty eyes, and skin that doesn't really shine. I don't think I've ever mentioned that in a video. I've never had a reason to, so we're putting it here. Back on topic. You remember BioShock Infinite? Which is funny, but maybe this is all connected. Maybe on subconscious level, all Americans are aware of the way this works. White and black are like Booker and Comstock, the same person going in different directions, or going about things in different ways with the same original assumptions, except stuck in one timeline together, and that's not supposed to happen. I'm sure this must have happened in history before, in which a nation has more than one identity that is still the same identity. It's Vivek bullshit. The one and not one. Or like the Holy Trinity, but instead the national dyad, which is a word I don't feel as douchey about using as I would have in the past because Star Wars used it, and I've heard other people use that word before. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, all one and not one. In the United States, you have the white and the black, which is another thing. We have all these different races and cultural heritages in the United States, but only two feel like they matter. And all these other, I hesitate to say lesser, heritages align with one or the other. I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to word this, how to square that. Limitations of language shit. I don't think there's a way to say the one and the not one that works linguistically, but spiritually you feel it. Different and the same. Two and one. Not but one and one. And the reason blackness is compelling is you act or you think you are watching these other people figure themselves out, but you're actually watching your fate play out at the same time. And you can probably feel that, but you might not be able to say that or be able to for everything to click, because a lot of things get in the way of that clicking. And still, it's messy because there are no clearly defined borders here. That's why recently, or in recent years, it's been interesting watching black people discuss black people like you're separate and the same. You can see this or experience it at its most approachable through Patrice O'Neill, but he was like a way too early, almost apotheosis of this. But anyway, if we stay on this leg of the subject, we're going to talk in circles for eternity. Because I don't think there's any fix to this. I don't think there's any solution. I think this is larger than all of us. I think this is something Lady Liberty is figuring out. And all you can really do in the meantime, as we sweat this out, is either sweat it out if you're the one who needs to be sweating it out, or be there as it's getting sweated out. This is like watching one of your identities get mutated or undergo some terrible treatment or surgery or something, no anesthetic. This whole thing sucks, and it's going to suck worse before it gets any better. But it feels like it's going somewhere, and you can feel it, and you can see it. And I don't think the soil would allow it to go on like this unless it were for some purpose. Power. National power. Western hemispheric dominance, probably. Or maybe it'll blow up. Who knows? It's part of being an American that's weird is realizing our country is a long-running series of experiments. It's like North America is a mad scientist. I can guess at what the benefit of having 2 and 1 national identities would be, based on what we've achieved with this shtick in its lowest forms. We're still, in spite of everything, on top, and we have a loose formula for on-topness, hard power and soft power, but I don't know. I'm not certain. In summary, we're watching a brutal but potentially productive experiment take place on us, but we don't think it's us. But on some level, we know it's us. Which is probably why everybody gets worked up over this stuff. And also why nobody can stop talking about it, me included. I love Latinas. I don't give one shit about Hispanic identity the way I do or the degree I do for this one. At least right now. Maybe in 60 years we'll be having this same conversation about North and South America as the burgeoning Terran Federation, starting with the New World Order, begins to kick off and North and South America really link up. This is important to me because I don't want to live in a European world or an Asian world or a Middle Eastern world or any other kind of world. I like us and the few countries outside who are like us and maybe one day could be us. I don't want to live in a bald, bike around a city, don't own a gun, don't own a cool car world. But I think we will cut it here. And we did manage to keep it relatively brief. Under 20 minutes, that's good for us. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.